Welcome to Professor Sky's Spam channel. I'm just sitting here in my basement working. If you don't know, I'm currently on my break. Classes don't start for about another week and a half. When professors are on a break, that's when they get to do the real work, like the research. So I'm working on a book right now. I will tell the story of that book soon enough on my main channel. But that's what I'm doing. So I'm at my computer here, and while I'm working, and I don't know if this ever happens to you, while I'm thinking about one thing, I'm thinking about something else. And I just sort of mistakenly developed this theory about the director Wes Craven. And I came to realize he has a sort of unofficial trilogy in his life's work, in his oeuvre. It's what I call the capital punishment trilogy, the death penalty trilogy of Wes Craven. So let's get to it, okay? If you don't know Wes Craven's work, he's one of the great horror masters: Nightmare on Elm Street, People Under the Stairs, The Hills Have Eyes. But when I was thinking about his work, I started to see this kind of through line. Now, it's a little bit paradoxical because his first movie, Last House on the Left, is something of a pro-death penalty movie. It's a revenge movie where the people who committed the crime are murdered by the people who are victimized by the crimes. And spoilers all around for Wes Craven's oeuvre. So, okay. But I think, let's just kind of follow things through. Let's think about Nightmare on Elm Street, his greatest contribution to world cinema. On the one hand, okay, it's a movie that's about dreams and the unconscious, and there's a certain amount of sadomasochism in there, and there's a certain amount of the dark side of American suburbia. But let's investigate deeper. All horror movies, the reason why horror movies are so important, and they are important, the reason why I would argue they are the most important genre for understanding a culture, is that they reflect our fears back at us. They also reflect our societal guilt. So what does it mean that the children of the town, the children of Elm Street, are murdered by Freddy Krueger? Freddy Krueger was a child molester, was a terrible, terrible person who deserved to be punished. When the law did not successfully punish Freddy Krueger, the parents of Elm Street got together and burned him alive. This is a kind of vigilante justice. Last House on the Left, okay, the vigilante justice turned out to be justified. But in this case, what we see is the parents are punished. Every boogeyman in every horror movie exists to punish certain flaws in the people who he or she is targeting. So what is the sin of Elm Street? The sin is taking his life, even though he's a molester, even though he's a terrible person. That is the thing. That is the cardinal sin at the root of the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Now, a little under a decade later, he makes another movie. This one is much more explicitly about capital punishment, much more explicitly about the death penalty. It's called Shocker, in which case a very terrible murderer is put in an electric chair and he is electrocuted to death. Where Nightmare on Elm Street was about people, mob justice, this is about state justice. And as he gets electrocuted, what does he do? He makes a deal with the devil and kills even more people. The desired effect of capital punishment is to prevent more crimes, to prevent murders. The result of capital punishment, both as distributed by the people and as distributed by the state, is the opposite. It leads to more deaths. I believe this is not a coincidence. And I think it's not a coincidence when we get to his most financially successful movie, Scream, the original Scream from 1996. In that movie, okay, it's about Hollywood, and it's about movies, and it's about the relationship between culture and teenagers, and it's about small towns. It's about all those things. There's another way, though, to re-watch Scream in light of capital punishment. It is essentially an extended mystery in which somebody who is on death row is freed. Cotton Weary is the suspected killer of Sydney's mother in Scream. we learn from the movie he's on death row. If justice was more swift, or if the criminal justice system was more swift, he would have been killed. He would have been actually killed by the state for this crime. Thanks to the sleuthing and thanks to how everything panned out in the movie Scream, Cotton Weary is exonerated. So not only is the death penalty something which is bad and does not work, with Scream, Craven underlines the idea that not only is it bad and it doesn't work, but it is often unjust, and often the people who are accused are innocent. And it shouldn't take a whole Scooby-Doo gang of a cop and a reporter and a teenager and a film nerd to all band together in order to get real justice. So there you go. There's my thought. Are there other movies? I haven't seen A Vampire in Brooklyn, so maybe there's a theme there. I think I've seen the rest of his movies. Maybe I missed one or two there towards the end of his career. Maybe there's more to this theory. I don't know. I have to get back to writing my book. I'm actually not having my lunch. My lunch is going to be an almond croissant. So, let me know what you think about this theory. Do you like this kind of content? I have a lot of these weird kind of movie theories in the back of my head that I like resuscitating and thinking about. I have a whole thing about Godzilla and Independence Day that I've been thinking about for 20 years. Maybe that's interesting to you. Okay, let me know in the comments, like and subscribe. Until next time, there's the camera.